4 months ago, we decided to take what was once a boring 1/8 acre front lawn and turn it into a gardenscape. Though we're only halfway through the process, we've made quite a bit of progress. One of the plans was to create a bright floral display along the fence line with native herbaceous perennials and a variety of tulips. 105 varieties to be exact. We figured we would need around 4,000 tulips to make an impactful display, and we decided to go for hues of deep purple blacks to aubergines and lavender, merlots and scarlet reds, punctuated with sunny yellows and vanillas. We won't see the result of our labor until this upcoming spring, but here's how the design process and site prep went down. All right, folks, we have tulip mania today because we are going to be finally planting this bed up, although we're going to likely only get to about half of it today. Unfortunately, some of the bulbs have not come in. This is like a recurring theme in some of the videos because this was the first year that the bulbs were just coming in later than expected. But we are going to get half of this done today. If you recall from past videos, we're going to do a color palette that borders on all types of purples. So black purples, aubergines, eggplants, all the way to lilacs and lavenders, white with tinges of watercolor of purplish pinks. So that full range. Then we're going to go with dark mauvey reds, burgundies, merlots, and true reds. And then just little hints of creamy whites and yellows. And so the best way that I could show you the color palette is by showing a bit more of like the mood boards that I've put up with some of the varieties of tulips that I have gotten so that you could see just the range and how those colors will look together. And I don't know how it's going to turn out because you could put all that stuff on a mood board and you think it's going to look one way and it's going to look maybe a totally different way in real life. And what our plan is to just basically put some fertilizer down, some bulb tone all throughout here. You'll see that we have some of our herbaceous perennials planted in here as well. A lot of our native geraniums, some non-native geraniums and anemones, Jacob's ladder, some irises, a number of other things. I planted quite a bit of those, maybe not as much as I would have liked to plant, but the idea behind that is with a lot of these bulbs, whether you're planting Camassia, which Camassia is planted in here, if you're planting the colchicums, the ones that came in late, and they're now finally purpling up a little bit. They were completely ghost white when we got these in. So whether you're planting any of those, oftentimes their leaves will come up, and once the bulb starts to die for the season or die back for the season, the leaves start to die back as well. So they start to look a little yellow and sickly, and you want some of your herbaceous perennials to cover those leaves so that you don't have a bed that looks all yellow. Because when the bulbs are blooming, especially tulips in April and May, typically is when they're blooming, it's going to look amazing, or at least fingers crossed that it will. But as soon as those leaves start to die back, it's going to look a little sad. So you hope that your native perennials and your other herbaceous perennials will come up and hide those leaves. Now, I have a ton of bulbs over here. So I think I have about 2,000. I didn't count them. We have some daffodils in there, which I'm not going to throw in with the tulips. I'm going to plant those elsewhere. But you'll see I have some big bags of these. Let's see what this one is. Tulipa Lilac Perfection. So I would imagine by the name of that, it's going to have a more lilac shade. But I have other ones as well. This one is Purple Prince, which is a deeper purple. And then I have Tulip Blue Diamond. So you'll see that we have like all these kind of purplish blues, colors, reddish purples. And I'm just gonna toss them in the bulb mixer right here, which is essentially just our rickety wheelbarrow and my hands. And that's actually how we did the 80,000 bulb lawn, if you recall. So even though we're gonna be planting 4,000, we'll plant about 2,000 today, I'm still waiting for the other half, is essentially just put it in the wheelbarrow and just run our hands through it. So as I call these out, you'll get a sense of some of the ones that we're planting. I will be planting, I think, total this year, over 150 different varieties of tulips. I think in this bed alone, we'll have over 100. And what I hope is that they will perennialize, but the challenge with perennializing tulip bulbs, now I came from a home where my mom didn't always leave the tulips in the ground. She would plant them year over year, or she would take up the tulip bulbs. I'm not gonna do that. They're totally hardy to this area. We're in zone 5, 6, we're in the Finger Lakes region of New York. So most of these, if not all of them, are hardy to our area. Most of these will be hardy to zones 4 and sometimes 3 as well, up to about zone 8, typically for tulips. And the challenge is if they've been overbred, then they don't perennialize as well. Particularly tulips that have like the double frilly flowers, which I have some of those. I like to use more of the species and the single tulips, but in order to get some of those beautiful purple varieties and those red varieties, they're going to be cultivated and have been bred over numbers of years. And those do not tend to perennialize as good as, like, let's say, the species tulips. So I will have some Tulipa sylvestris, Tulipa acuminata. Those are great perennializers. Tulipa sylvestris, the woodland tulip, that's the beautiful yellow one. Very simple structure compared to some of the frilly cultivated varieties. It actually is one of my favorite bulbs in the bulb lawn. It comes up in May and just dances in the wind and follows the sun with its sunny face, and it just brightens up the landscape. So as I was thinking about the colorway for this path, yes, I wanted those deep black purples and deep lipstick reds, but yellow just automatically brightens up the landscape. So yeah, I'm just gonna mix these up, and I'm gonna keep these. These are great for storing like potatoes and everything when we do a root cellar. So this is Yume no Murasaki, and this one is a cool purple one that I saw that I couldn't find anywhere else, and I found it on one site, which I was pretty psyched by. You see lots of different varieties when you're searching for specific color patterns or tulip shapes, but they're not always available. And you have to kind of buy them early. Although the best time to buy if you want to save on money is like towards the end of the season when you're really at the tail end of planting. And I try to buy them in bulk as much as possible, with the exception of I have some heirloom varieties, and like real heirlooms, like that are pretty rare that I went on a hunt for. I will probably do that in another video, and I could only buy a few of them because they're not available in large numbers and they're a bit more expensive. And what I'm gonna do is plant those in pots because I don't want them to get lost in the sea of tulip bulbs here. And that way the pots will act like a little microcosm of the larger gardens in the area. And then I could have I could keep tabs, I guess, on one of the ones that are more heirloom, because I don't wanna lose those. Anatolia, this is red with a little bit of yellow, and that is kind of common. I have some like Tulipa acuminata, which looks like fire, like really thin flames of fire coming off the head of the tulip. There's other cultivated varieties that look similar to that, like I think Go-Go Red. I like that look, that really lily flowering tulips that have that beautiful kind of feminine vase shape, and then ones that are a little thinner. Inimitable, this is a late blooming tulip and it's yellow. So I have lots of purples and yellows. That's gonna look great. It's gonna kind of remind me of Easter, which is right around the time when these start blooming. Sunny Leo, this was a cool one. It kind of reminded me of You know the parts of the daffodil that come out? This one is like that, but a little bit like jaggedy. And I think they might have called it Leo because it kind of looks like a lion. Mix up as we go. So this is a Palmyra double early tulip. You'll see it looks like that deep purple burgundy red. It feels a bit more peony-like, so it has one of those big flower heads. Black Parrot, this is a cool one. So it kind of looks a little bit like the double early tulip, but again, that dark black color. Tulip Clearwater, I think this is one of those ones that are just a white, crisp white tulips. Keep in mind that this whole area is going to be a cutting garden as well. I'm just gonna mix as we go. And then what I'll do is toss them. And wherever they land, I mean, obviously most of the tulips are gonna go here because this is actually a very wide garden bed. And if you recall, this has all been built up within the last 3 months, which is mind-blowing. We got all of the wood chips that we had left and put that on top of cardboard. So we had enough cardboard to fill this entire bed. It kind of got a little weedy down there and out of our control. So we'll probably finish the rest of that next year. But we did wood chips on top of cardboard and lots of wood chips. I mean, this is probably 8 inches of wood chips here built up in the highest part, if not more. And then probably 10 inches right here. And then we put more wood chips, and then Espoma came with their soil seconds, and we put even more of that on top. Then we finished this edging. We didn't finish the edging for all the beds, but this nice crisp edging, Sandra really worked hard on getting the curve just right. And then I went in here, I weeded all the edges, and then I put some more soil on top and just curved it nicely. And this is going to make it so much easier to put our bulbs in. This one is the Lilac Perfection, which I mentioned earlier. The thing with planting bulbs though, is you just have to exhibit patience because you're gonna see us put all this in, all this work and effort in, and then you have to wait until April or May. So how many months is that? 6 months away? It feels like forever. This is Tulipa Red Dress. Tulipa Rosy Diamond. These are Tulipa Muvotas, and these are also in the pollinator garden. Oh, these are night watches. These are really pretty, dark purple. These are Tulipa Shirleys. I think these are white with like purple edging. This is Tulip Signature, and it's just a white signature tulip. I feel like I'm calling graduation, you know, or like, Crispa Tulipa Tower, come on up. Violet Beauty, single late tulip. Curly Sue, this is one of the fringe tulips. This is the Sapporo, and I was looking for this one. This was a lily flowering tulip, really beautiful white lily flowering tulip. Oh, these are really pretty. These are Pietra de Lour. Probably mispronounced that. Sorry, Peter. Very pretty, like reddish ones. Katarina. This is a late spring tulip. And I think this is a white, might be a lily flowering tulip. Jackpot tulip. This is also purple. This is called Pim Fortuin. And this is a white tulip. Pim. It must be. I mean, a lot of these are Dutch.
That might be the guy who got shot in politics.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, look at that.
Well, maybe it was dedicated to him.
Dedicated to him, probably.
Yeah.
That was a while ago, though. When I was a kid.
Sounds like he was trying to stir up some shit. Well, how nice to be honored with a tulip that you plant year over year. Is that how you would say his name, or how would you say his name?
Pim Fortuin.
Pim Fortuin.
Town.
Down. I'll never get touched.
You'll never get the I.
Ow, ow,
No,
ow.
you said like, ow.
Yeah, like you
Which
stepped on my
means
toe.
hurt.
Yeah. Ow, 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 ow.
Yeah, getting shot at as a politician is nothing.
No, that's nothing new. It seems like old hat. Here's the acuminata. So these are the species tulips, and these tend to naturalize very well. What I mean by naturalize is that they'll spread around, they won't become invasive, they'll just kind of become part of the environment, very meadow-esque. All right, let's move on to this big box. There's more. Wait, there's more. We're gonna fill this
I
up.
don't think we'll ever get to the planting part.
No, we won't. We won't run out of time. Okay, this is a big bag. This is Tulip Triumph Purple Lady. What fun would gardening be if you can't experiment with plants? Tulipa sylvestris. Okay, so Tulipa sylvestris is our woodland tulips. They only grow about 8 inches tall. And you can see they're tiny. These are the same yellow ones that we have planted in the 80,000 bulb line. So you'll know what they look like. The rest of the bulbs, you can see the size of the bulbs, they're usually bulbs that are 10 to 24 inches tall. So you're gonna have a mix. Tulipa caviar, that's a great name. Tulip Merlot, so this is one of those really beautiful reds. Paul Scherer, also named after someone. Purple Cloud. Oh, by the way, how I came up with 4,000 tulips is because I roughly got the area of this whole little curve. And then if I'm planting them roughly 4 to 6 inches apart, that would be how many tulips that we would need. And I probably have a little bit more than what we're going to need because we actually didn't finish the whole line because it got a little too weedy down there. So I'll probably finish that next year and just kind of clump them a bit closer to 4 inches. These are species tulips. Oh, Tulipa Kansas Proud. So this is like a maroon purple color. Very pretty. Everyone needs to thank Sonder for being so patient.
We're 40 minutes in.
Standing here. Caravel Design, Tulipa Caravel Design. Tulip Continental, these I believe are purple. Tulip Happy Feet, purple. You're Dutch though, you're supposed to love this. You're supposed to enjoy these tulips and celebrate your heritage and wear wooden clogs. Rem's favorite. This is another one that's really pretty. I think this is a purple white bulb. It's kind of variegated. Not like a broken tulip, like the old school broken tulips that have the virus, but it looks like a broken tulip without the virus. Tulip Blue Parrot. We have purple parrot. I think we have Parrot Negrita, which is a black parrot. Tulip Blue Spectacle. A lot of these are new ones. I can't even get my hands down to that lower level, so that's why it's a benefit of mixing as you go. This is the last ones, I think. So this is Tulipa Interaction, but these are variegated and smaller, as you can see. So I'm going to put these elsewhere in the garden. I don't want them to get lost. These are daffodils, so we're gonna look at those later. Narcissus, I think this is actually the last bit of, what's this one? Tulip Purple Elegance. All right. So that's it. This is it.
Oh, that's it?
This is it. This is probably around 2,000 bulbs. It's half the bulbs that we're going to be planting. Give it one last mix. I'm going to get the bulb tone. And I'm not going to go hole by hole because that's going to be crazy. So I'm just going to spread it around and work it in. thought this was going to be a good idea. Where did all those volunteers go when we had 80,000 bulbs? This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to strewn them all over the place. All right, so I just randomly tossed the bulbs after I randomly mixed them, and oh, that bulb just fell right into the hole. And I'm just basically gonna put them in here, and I hope what happens next year is that they'll come up all different shades. Nothing's gonna be too clumpy together. And I will roughly plant them where they fell, but I'll, you know, there's a lot of space in here, so I'm gonna probably space these out a little bit better. But this is what I'm gonna be doing probably for the next few hours. And considering that this is only half the bulbs, I'm hoping that I have another sunny day coming up when they arrive and I could plant the rest. All right, folks, so as I was saying before, I didn't know whether our bulbs were going to arrive, and guess what? They arrived today, 2 boxes. So we got the other 2,000 or so, and what I'm going to do is basically mix them into the current wheelbarrow that we have, and I'm going to be planting them up. I mean, it's crazy. I'm only about a third of the way done, and then all of a sudden I get all these other bulbs, and I'm like, I'm going to be planting until 6 p.m. tonight. So yeah, I'm planning on doing this until the sun goes down. I just broke for lunch, and I guess I'm going to break my back planting these bulbs. Stay tuned here because we'll have more updates on how this garden and other landscapes here at Flock unfold through the growing seasons. In the meantime, we'll be hard at work on the ongoing renovations, and we'll make some time to highlight interesting folks in and around the community. Subscribe and hit the notifications button if you're enjoying the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.